Hello everyone, and welcome to All About JAN, a training module in which we'll tell you how JAN, which is short for Job Accommodation Network, can be your best friend when it comes to workplace accommodations and the Americans with Disabilities Act. So let's start with, who is JAN? We're a small group. We have less than 30 employees working out of a small office on the campus of West Virginia University in Morgantown, West Virginia. We're funded by the U.S. Department of Labor's Office of Disability Employment Policy. Our primary mission is to help our customers resolve job accommodation issues and come up with and implement successful accommodations. We do this by providing consultation on all aspects of workplace accommodations for people with disabilities. Our service is available to anyone, but we serve primarily three audiences: employers, individuals with disabilities and their family members, and service providers such as rehabilitation and medical professionals. We believe that hearing from people on all sides of workplace accommodation issues helps us see the bigger picture so we can provide a better service. Just to give you an idea about how much experience we have, we currently serve an average of 40,000 customers annually. When providing information about job accommodations, we work with customers from all industries who need information about people working in all job categories with all types of impairments. And in addition to providing information about job accommodations, we also provide consultation on the Americans with Disabilities Act, including the Amendments Act of 2008, and the Rehabilitation Act for those of you in the federal sector. As you can imagine, providing accommodations and complying with laws that require accommodations are two topics that go hand in hand. In fact, over 80% of our contacts involve providing technical assistance on both accommodation and legislative issues. And one other very important thing for you to know about JAN is that all our services are free and confidential. Those of you who are not already familiar with us may be wondering about the history of JAN and how we can do all that we do at no cost to you. One thing I can tell you is that it takes a lot of experience and knowledge to quickly and effectively come up with accommodation ideas and ADA information for the vast number of possible jobs, workplace settings, and disability-related limitations that we hear about. We can do what we do because we've been building up our knowledge and experience for almost 30 years. WVU was the original host for JAN when it was founded in 1983. If any of you deal with accommodations in your workplace, you know that it can take years to feel like you know what you're doing. Well, many of our employees have been with JAN at least 10 years, and some have been with JAN since its beginning. We require our consultants to have at least a master's degree from a wide variety of backgrounds such as rehabilitation counseling, engineering, safety, law, education, social work, business, communication, and speech pathology. We have a well-rounded group of dedicated people who work hard to help customers with any accommodation situation they have. So you may be asking, how do customers reach JAN? This used to be a very short answer, and that answer was by telephone. But as communication methods have changed, JAN has changed too. We are still available by telephone at 800-526-7234 for voice and 877-781-9403 for TTY. And honestly, telephone is still the most common way that we communicate. But now we also communicate electronically. Customers can email us at jan@askjan.org or visit us on our website at askjan.org. Some other ways customers reach us include our JAN On Demand tool, our accessible live chat, and our social networks. These tools are all easy to find on the contact page of our website. By now, some of you may be wondering how we handle questions and what happens when a customer contacts us. One of the things we did many years ago was to divide up into teams with each consultant having a specialty area. There is a lot to know, and dividing up into teams helps us keep up with all the new ADA information, the latest equipment and technology, and national workplace trends. We currently have 4 teams, including sensory, motor, cognitive psychiatric, and small business, as well as ADA and web accessibility specialists. The good news for customers is that you don't have to know anything when you call. We meet our customers where they are in the accommodation process. We have customers who are handling their first accommodation situation, and we have experienced accommodation specialists who call us only when they run into really tough situations. Our goal is to help customers put all the pieces together to help ensure that employers are getting the information they need to comply with the ADA, and employees with disabilities are getting the accommodations they need to be productive. We thought you might be interested in hearing about the day-to-day topics we handle at JAN to give you an idea about the types of questions we can help you with. Let's start with acquiring equipment or assistive technology, or AT for short. In our experience, equipment or AT often is involved in successful accommodations, so at JAN we have extensive knowledge about products, including where to purchase new equipment or AT. Believe me, there are thousands of products that can be used as possible accommodations, and JAN can help you find the product that works for you. Another type of accommodation is making the workplace accessible. Employers need to make sure that all employees are able to get in and out of the workplace and use common areas such as restrooms, break rooms, and exercise rooms. To help with accessibility issues, JAN can provide referrals to local resources that help with accessibility, as well as referrals to relevant product vendors. Job restructuring is another type of accommodation we can discuss with you. Job restructuring may be needed when an individual is having difficulty performing some functions of the job and requests that the employer remove the function as an accommodation. Under the ADA, employers only have to remove functions if they are marginal, not essential to the job. And when an employer removes a marginal function, the employer may choose to replace it with a different marginal function that the employee is able to perform. For example, let's say a secretary has difficulty lifting large boxes of computer paper, and it's not an essential function of the job to lift the paper. The employer might ask someone else to lift the paper and have the secretary do extra mailing or copying instead. We can help you brainstorm this and other types of options for restructuring jobs. Another accommodation is modifying schedules or allowing leave time. JAN can help you with this type of accommodation by discussing options and undue hardship issues, suggesting in some cases alternatives to leaves, and providing information about related laws such as workers' compensation and the Family and Medical Leave Act. Another type of accommodation we can help with is modifying a workplace policy. While employers are free to set policies, there are some policies that may have to be modified for an employee with a disability. Examples of policies that employers might have to consider modifying include dress codes, rules about eating at a workstation, attendance policies, and rules about animals in the workplace. Policies that employers don't have to consider modifying include prohibiting violence, threats of violence, stealing, destruction of property, use of alcohol or illegal drugs at work, respecting coworkers and customers, observing safety rules, and sending inappropriate or offensive emails. We can provide information to help determine what policies employers must consider modifying, what policies employers can enforce, and how to develop non-discriminatory policies. Providing interpreters and readers is another type of accommodation we can help with. Readers are often used for people with low vision or no vision. Interpreters, of course, are used for people who communicate with sign language, in this country, American Sign Language, ASL. JAN can help with this type of accommodation by discussing where to find readers and interpreters, when employers have an obligation to provide them, and when alternative methods of communication might be appropriate. Reassignment is an accommodation we term the accommodation of last resort. Unless the employer and the employee agree to a reassignment, employers are expected to try to accommodate in the current position. But sometimes it's not possible to accommodate an employee in the current position, and if that's the case, the employer should consider reassignment to another position. We can help employers by providing information about the ADA rules related to reassignment as an accommodation and by providing accommodation ideas for the new job when needed. There are lots of other possible accommodations that Jan can discuss with you, and we're always available to do some brainstorming. Another thing I'd like to tell you about Jan is that we conduct research on the benefits and costs of accommodations. Have you ever seen the reference stating that the typical cost of accommodation, when there is a cost, is $500? Ever come across the reference to 57% of all accommodations cost nothing? These data come from a survey of those employers who contact Jan. We update these data annually in a report we call Low Cost, High Impact, and many employers and policymakers find this report useful when pursuing a policy or agency paradigm change. You can find our latest report on the Jan website. In addition to the Low Cost, High Impact publication, the final thing I want to mention about Jan services is some of the other information you can find on our website. From the home page, you can access our A to Z page, which helps you easily find information on our site by the type of disability involved or by the topic you're interested in. Also off the home page, you can visit our legal libraries, sign up to receive the Jan newsletter, access our popular training modules, or find our Jan in Spanish page. If you haven't seen our website, we hope you'll visit it soon at askjan.org. And that's the end of our presentation. Thank you for including Jan as part of your training. And now that you know all about Jan, we hope you will contact us next time you need information about workplace accommodations and related legislation. It's what we do.